Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Southern Cross ESports is back for yet another season. We've parked the 911 RSR cars and brought out the 991 Cup cars. Porsche's hit the track for the first time in the winter season 2023. This is round one from Circuit Zandvoort in the Netherlands. We are looking forward to bringing you another season of Southern Cross ESports action. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me for the ride tonight, Stu Brown. Stu, welcome along and welcome for the first time to Southern Cross ESports. This is going to be a lot of fun. You're in for a bit of a wild ride.
Yeah, absolutely, Jay. Southern Cross ESports Winter Series, but I can tell you, I can feel how warm it's going to be in the racing tonight. Circuit Zandvoort, a fantastic place for racing, and particularly in these cars as well. Got my wooden shoes on as we head to the Netherlands for a circuit that's been revamped, 2021 or 2020, I think it was, for the Formula One. But certainly a place for some great racing tonight.
Yeah, not far from Amsterdam. One of the interesting quirks of this circuit is there's no car parking here. So you can't drive a car to the track. You have to park in the town of Zandvoort and either ride a bike or get public transport. The only way there. Or you can always even walk along the beach if you like. But yeah, as you said, this track in its iteration on iRacing no more. But hopefully in the not too distant future, it's already been announced and confirmed that we will get the new rescan of this circuit with the banked final turn and the adjustment to turn 3, which you can sort of see in the background of the Google Earth image. This track also used to run right into the forest at turn 8 there. It used to shoot off into the forest and rejoin at turn 13, but in the 70s when it reopened, they reopened in this shorter form. Very, very cool track, and as you said, it will suit these cars very, very well, which is going to make some really good racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how the drivers navigate turn 1, particularly on cold tyres, as we get into that first sprint race. A couple of tricky parts to this track. Very, very good in these particular cars as well. A track that favours late braking and trail braking. So the drivers, I feel, who've got command of these cars in that particular aspect are going to be the ones that are going to do the best. Exit
at turn 13, probably the most crucial on the track because that gives you your run from out of Kumo into Lyondike, and then the run up to Tarzan down turn 1. As you said, turn 1 is going to be very, very interesting in these cars, but getting the exit at turn 13 absolutely perfect is going to be key. And you can see a lot of drivers that do push it too hard and end up off in the dirt at the exit of that corner. Before we get into qualifying, which has just started not that long ago, we'll have a quick look at the season schedule. A very, very cool schedule. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this goes. Lots of tracks we don't see the Porsche Cup cars do a huge amount of racing on iRacing at the likes of Fuji. We've seen in other series has been really entertaining, but I'm looking forward to seeing Twin Ring Motegi next year, and I think that's going to be a really cool track for these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Motegi and, of course, Magna Core, a relatively new track to the iRacing server, along with Fuji as well, I think a couple of seasons ago. So really working those tracks that, as you say, aren't traditionally tracks that we see in the Porsche Cup series. And then we sort of head into a few of your more traditional tracks later in the season where drivers are going to be more familiar. So, you know, those might be planning for a stronger run home towards the end of this winter series, but they're going to have to navigate those first 4 rounds, which, yeah, is going to be really, really closely fought.
And format very, very similar to what we've had for previous seasons in this series. One slight tweak, we've added an extra 5 minutes to the feature race. So instead of a 40-minute feature race, we've now gone to 45-minute feature race, but the other two features of that race still remain. Top 12 reverse grid, which is always really cool to watch, and the compulsory pit stop for 4 tyres. That will make a little bit of interesting strategy because Porsche Cup racing traditionally doesn't see tyre changes in their racing. So seeing how drivers tackle that and approach that and understand how to bring the tyres back in and phase them back in is going to be very, very interesting, considering qualifying at the moment, lots of drivers are taking very, very slow outlaps to get pace into the tyres and heat into the tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention, of course, in that longer race, there's going to be marbles develop on the track as well as the track state continues to develop across the evening. And we add into that the cold tyres, drivers wanting to make sure that they get out in front, play their strategy right if they're trying to do an undercut or an overcut in terms of the pit strategy that they execute. Cold tyres into that turn one that we've already spoken about could bring a couple of drivers unstuck, I think. Got a number of really experienced operators in the field tonight, but we'll see how they manage to handle it. Rick Kuznetsov, currently fastest on track in the 888 Porsche with a minute 41.39, but Mike Pepper and Simon Mazzomo pretty hot on their heels at the moment. We've still got 9 minutes to go in qualifying, as we just see an off track there for one of the juiced cars. He'll have to reset, and it'll be a hard cut for qualifying tonight as well. So if you haven't completed that lap by the time that counter reaches 0, it will not count. And off tracks can be tough around this track as well, as we're on board now with Rick Kuznetsov as he makes his way through turn 3 and starts to run up the hill. So really, again, mention the exits and the importance. Another one on the track to generate pace right up through this section as they run up towards the sweeping turn 7. See someone off on the left there as well. So it's easy to get caught out here. It's quite a tricky, fast track as well. It looks like it wouldn't be, if you're comparing it to something in Australia. It's not quite Winton-esque, it's much faster than that, but probably a mixture of Winton and Phillip Island in terms of the combinations of the corners. So you really need to make sure that you understand how to generate the pace around the track. Otherwise, you're going to get caught out and you're really not going to get that lap in that you're going to want. And it is a place that can be a little difficult to pass. So they'll have to be considering that as well in terms of where they want to get themselves positioned as far up the field as they can in qualifying.
Yeah, 100% on the struggling to pass thing. We've seen in other series that this track does make it very, very difficult to pass. So you really have to plan your moves well in advance, and that pit stop will be crucial to making overtakes as well when we get there. This is Rick Kuznetsov, currently P1, and this lap's look very smooth, but that is one of the areas you can get that off-track 1x incident point. And we're going to see lots of drivers push it wide through that second last turn at turn 13. Get it wrong, you end up in the wall, you end up well outside, you can end up off the track. But that lap actually did count there for Kuznetsov, and he does improve his time. So great effort from him. I was surprised that lap counted, let alone was an improvement there. So well done from him.
Yeah, interesting. My monitor picked up that it was an off track, but you're 100% right that the laps counted. So he's just got away with one there, but that's racing, that's how it goes. Just having a look there as well as he came around that final corner at the tricky entry to pit lane here. You've got plenty of time to get yourself into pit lane, but the entrance is quite short. So the braking zone, once you sort of get into that lane, the drivers are going to have to make sure with these cars that they're able to pull them up. I'm 99% sure no ABS in these at all, no traction control. So you've got to make sure that you're in line and ready to go and getting on to the limiter before you get to that line, or you're going to get yourself a penalty. And it can be severe and change your race. So that's something else to consider with that pit stop during the race.
We've seen in other series we broadcast at this track that the other difficult part of the pit entry is if you lock it up, you can actually loop it around and hit the wall and block the pit entry for other drivers. So that's something to consider as well. Whether you pit in traffic and pit by yourself is another consideration, because as you said, it is very difficult to overtake. So you don't want to hit at the wrong time and bring yourself out into traffic. But this lap from Connor Nixon's looked pretty smooth and consistent. I don't think it's going to be an improvement on the timing sheets. No, he's actually bringing it into the pits. It's a great example of that pit entry, and right on cue has a big lockup, almost puts it in the wall.
Yeah, and as you said, like that outside wall there that you're just talking about, if you lock it up, it's really easy to slide into it. So yeah, really good camera there for us to be able to bring that to you all. So there's lots of things tonight. That's where this circuit, it's a circuit that's got such character about it. It's very, very unique. We'd probably say that about every circuit that we would ever broadcast from, but this one's got its own particular quirks. And you combine them all together with the race format that we've got, and we're definitely in for a really exciting night tonight, I think, with the reverse top 12 as well. Slight little difference on a reverse top 10 or the equivalent, but the reverse top 12 I think is really good. That's going to mean those lower places, if you're watching, you're going to get to see fighting right through for those middle places in that, because it can have a big difference. Again, with the passing limitations of the track, it can make a massive difference over that 45-minute feature race.
Yeah, we've seen in other races in this series that the first race, the battle for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, has ended up in 5-6 car groups and been absolutely incredible to watch. So no doubt we will see that again tonight throughout the racing. We just watched Jonathan Akers. He actually got a little bit balked there as he was coming through the turn 11-12 complex and decided to back out of it and go again. This is Simon Mazzomo on his lap at the moment. We'll see what he can do. Currently sits in 5th position, but he was looking for a bit of a confidence boost coming into this series. He's reigning champion of the AOG Porsche Cup in the Pro-Am class, so he's looking to step it up a little bit and potentially move on forward in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I've also noticed we've got one international driver in the field today with Tiago Macedo. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's representing Brazil, so during the series he's currently sitting in P3 as well. So Simon's got a little bit of work to do to get ahead, but he's a quality driver, is Simon Mazzomo, so keep an eye on him as he comes through towards the end to complete this lap. Just going through Box 9 or turn 9 on his way around. Oh no, actually I've called that wrong. Turn 14 on his way around to complete the lap. Looking for a 139. He does a 140. That takes him into P2. So 140.1. Yeah, good clean lap. Just pops him ahead of Mike Pepper. And Macedo's on a flying lap as well in the number 2. So we'll have a look at Nathaniel Coburn here. Seeing if he can do anything better for himself as he moves through the second sector. Braking there, you saw a little lock up of that right front, just trying to get that turned in. It's really, again, important to pull the car up early there to maximise your drive out of that left-hand turn 12. He seemed to have slowed him too much. He'll probably be on for an improvement here and close out the lap. Currently 143.6. He's definitely going to pick that up.
Maybe not. He's
Slightly,
just improved.
Just slightly improved, just to help me out here to make me not look like I don't know what I'm talking about. So that was good. Thank you for that. But you're just only a slight improvement. We're getting really towards the end now. 2:0. We're looking at a minute 40 as the best lap. So you're planning your flying laps now as Kuznetsov is back out on track. Wanting to get it started within the next 30 seconds or so, if you're going to get it to count. So Mike Pepper's timed this perfectly. He's going to get one more roll of the dice to see if he can improve on P3, if he doesn't already. Oh, just misses out. That lap actually didn't count, but if it had he would have just missed out on pipping Simon Mazzomo for P2.
Trevor Leonard will improve on this lap, gains himself about 7/10 of a second. How many positions does it give him? Nearly 10. Goes up 90 to P8.
P8, good lap as well. Loving some of the liveries as well. We'll have a quick look at those when we get through the grid. Some of the racecraft cars look fantastic, as they always are, well presented. It's Trevor Hearn. Hasn't managed to help himself, but that'll be it for his qualifying for tonight. As he does a record lap. So who have we got out on track now who can still set a lap? Looks like Kuznetsov has missed out, so he's going to duck into pit lane. We're looking at someone like Kyle Ridley, who's got around. Barry Punter, of course, he is done as well. He's going to finish around P24. And here is the Brazilian. What can he do? Can he get into the 130s? No, but he has improved, but hasn't quite done it. He's a 10th down on Mazzomo. Someone's seeing if the outside of the track is any faster around. Chase Hoyt. Count for him. He's currently in P10, so not too bad an outing for him in qualifying. Coburn brings the all-black Porsche into pit lane.
Lap from Pepper looks like it should be an improvement, but how much is the big key here? Looking to improve on a 3:05. He does improve, but won't gain any positions. Finds himself a couple of hundredths of a second. Not enough to gain any spots, so you'll stick in 4th for now. Got Trevor Leonard coming across the line, former champion of the series. He crosses the line and does improve and sticks himself right behind Mike Pepper into 5th.
That's a good lap. Brody Watts improved as well on his final lap out, getting down into the 40s. So he did a 140.79. And that is the hard cut there. So as you'd expect in a one-make series, nice and close across the field, actually. There's less than a second. I think it was across our top 14 or 15 drivers. So let's have a quick look at the grid here for the first race of the Winter Series, round 1 of the Southern Cross ESports Winter Series. Thanks to V8 Drive Day. As it is Rick Kuznetsov who takes out the first pole position in the Racecraft Porsche, followed by Simon Mazzomo in P2. Race number 3 is Tiago Macedo with Mike Pepper off row 2. Row 3, Trevor Leonard, and then we've got Ben Brazier. A couple more Racecraft cars there. Paul Brockbank and Mike Holcroft off row 4. Kyle Ridley and Brody Watts off row 5. We've got Chase Hoy and Cam Edwards off row 6. Keep moving back through this field. Ray Oliver and Connor Nixon off row 7. With Trevor Hearn and Clint Harvey off row 8. Jason Pringle and Harry Dodds off row 9. And we've got France Esterbauer and Dean Hunt off row 10. TJ off 21st or row 11 with Kurt Rose. John Akers and Barry Punter off row 12. Then we've got Craig Davison and Sam Durua, my apologies, off row 13. For row 14, it's Jesse McMenamin and Nathaniel Coburn. And then we've got Greg Levine and we've got the pace car. So Greg Levine bring up the field there.
Another strong field for this series. As we said, we will have a 20-minute race 1. Race 2 will be 45 minutes in length. Now, drivers will do a full pace lap, so I've got plenty of time to talk about strategy. There's no real strategy in race 1, but race 2 there is going to be plenty. I think race 1, though, it's going to be lots of finding your feet and trying to work out who is where, who is who, and who you can race hard with, because there's lots of drivers that have raced this series before, but just as many that have never raced in the series at all.
Yeah, and nerves as well. I mean, we can't overlook that. First race of a new season, you're wanting to get yourself underway, make sure that you maximise points in this race, and as you say, work out who you can race with and where your pace sits in this group. So nerves will play a part as well, and they've got a full warm-up lap to think about that as well, understand what they're going to do, how they're going to position themselves into turn 1. Into turn 2 and 3, you are thinking about those first sort of half dozen corners and what might come at you, what you might have to respond to as well. You want to make sure that the car stays clean and that you can maximise your position and set yourselves up for a 45-minute race 2 as well. So yeah, there's plenty to think about, but there's also plenty of experienced campaigners in the group. So they've done this before, they'll know what to expect. And our front row certainly emulates that. Plenty of experience at the front there in these cars. The track temp here today will be pretty sure it'll be a little cooler.
I'm seeing 44 degrees.
44 degrees, so it should get, it won't be fixed, so it should get cooler into our main race. We're in the Arva.
Actually could get warmer because we are only 1 in the afternoon, so yeah, it could get warmer as we progress. We'll see whether it does or not, but yeah, I'm thinking it could get a little warmer out there.
Yeah, okay. So that'll play a factor in tyre wear as well.
Yeah, potentially.
And the track state of build. So yeah, lots to consider. Looking forward to the first race.
Yeah, drivers come down through the last part of the old original section of track. Yeah, liveries are deciding to refresh on me. That's always handy. Back in the day, the track used to just go straight ahead there and then off into the forest. But as I said, back in the mid-70s when they were reviving the track. They decided to shorten it, and looking at the track that we have now for a long time. Very cool. And one of the things, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about this before, but one of the things Reese and I have said it for a long time, you can tell how good a track is based by whether the corners have names or numbers. I think this track's done it pretty well, considering almost every corner is named, and named after something that makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, I'll have to get a rundown on that at some stage. They're dare I say, Dutch to me. So, but yeah, a couple of them certainly make sense. I was looking at them.
Last corner's named after Arie Luyendyk, the former IndyCar, Indy 500 winner, two-time
Yes.
IndyCar winner. So named after him, and Hugenholtzbach, named after more famous Dutch races, and I'm sure that no doubt in the future there'll be a Verstappen turn at this corner. I've got little doubt about that.
I imagine there will be. Sharon Verstappen, given his father's involvement in everything that goes on there, but we'll see.
There's enough corners to name them both.
Yeah, well, this is exactly right. So it's the pace car, the safety car, just starts to make its way through the last couple of corners as we're down at Kumo Bocht. My Dutch accent's probably a little more Central European than it needs to be, but anyway, I'll try and keep that off the waves as we come around. Now the drivers are forming up. Will be the start of this round, first round in the Winter Series at Zandvoort. We're waiting. You can see that arm raised, and we're off and racing. Gone a little bit early. No, there we go now. Charlie waves the flag. We're off and racing here at Zandvoort. Two race car drivers racecraft, I should say, down to the inside. There's a bit of a lock up there that's pushed that car wide. 954 of Simon Mazzomo. And that has allowed Tiago, Macedone and Leonard to have a look, as it looks like everyone's made their way through cleanly here for a really good start to this race. Down into turn 3. This can bring some drivers unstuck on the outside. 3 wide through turn 3. Through Hugenholtz. A couple just running off on the infield there, but no damage. We'll get through as cleanly as we can. Great pictures here. To get the look as they make the run up the hill towards turn 7.
Seen Harvey starting to make some moves very, very quickly. He's already up a couple of spots as he's through on Harry Dodds, who's trying to bring it back. Here we go.
Using the curb to his advantage there, Dodds as well, just keeping the track nice and wide. This is a typical one. No. There it is there. A little bit of a touch, unfortunately. He's gone round. Oh, and he's tried to do the right thing, but in doing so, Dodds is impacted there. He's just holding the brake now. Got a couple around. That was Dodds and Harvey both went around there. Other than that, it's looking like a relatively clean lap. In fact, we've got another. I think it's Davison who might have gone off as well. So it'll be interesting to see if Race Control take any action out of that one. It looked like there might have been a little bit of a bump. Wait and see what happens with that one. There is a live Race Control on this series as well, so that could factor into what happened there.
Other than that one little bump there, it was a very, very clean lap, wasn't it, for the most part? A little bit of good side to side. Is Michael Holcroft up the inside of Brody Watts? Sorry, Brody Watts up the inside of Holcroft, and Kyle Ridley's decided, I'm not having any part of it. I'm going to run off the track. I'm sure that wasn't the intention, but he's now outside that crucial top 12.
An easy place to get outbraked a little bit there as well, getting hot into turn 1 as we've got somebody else around as well. Looks like Watts, in fact, who has gone around. That's in turn 3, and Hugenholtz is just... Oh, it looks like, I'm not sure if he got a bump there or maybe just over-rotated the car a little bit. With all the action on, we'll see if we might be able to get a replay up for that one. In fact, here it is now.
This is the first incident we just saw before.
Yep, so that's the 54 there of Clint Harvey. And there might be something to answer there. We'll just see. Harry Dodds, unfortunately, probably got the worst out of that.
Connor Nixon up the inside there of Brody Watts. Brody Watts around. It looks like he get a little bump in the wall, but he might be okay. But it's going to be a big struggle to come back because he's now way back in 28th position.
there was something there from race control on the 981 of Dodds. So we'll just see if he has to do anything as a result of that incident. But otherwise, Simon Mazomo, second behind race leader now, Rick Kuznetsov. So they've set off a little bit into the distance, but Macedo has managed to stick with them. Got a good pack forming. Called it early on. We've got 7 through 12 really close, and 981 we just heard as well will get a drive-through penalty, so Harry Dodd's going to have to serve that as a consequence of that incident on lap 1. So it's going to make his race 1 very difficult, but that's okay. We've got another one coming up after that where he can try and make good on that.
The part of race 2 as well, it's double points from what you get in race 1, so that is the most crucial one. You want to finish as high as you can in race number 2 as opposed to race 1. If you get a good result in race 1 and not in race 2, it's probably not as important. I think this is probably important to look at though. This is a view on board with Dodds, so we might get a bit more of an idea of why race control is giving this a penalty.
Right on the roof here.
It's ran a little bit wide, but
really interesting. Yeah, that's. I mean, race control have got a difficult job to do, so they've obviously seen something that we potentially can't from there. But
I'm okay with that as long as it's consistent throughout the season. Everyone knows it's the same.
That's exactly right. So yeah, so that's the way the cookie crumbles, so to speak. So we'll move along from that dangerous territory, as we've got Chase Hoy on screen now in the 777. He is putting pressure on Connor Nixon, but equally he has also got Ray Oliver just jogging on the spot behind him. So we've got this pack here with 4 cars of Holdcroft back through Edwards, and this is really the battle for that sort of top 4 or 5 positions on that reverse grid. Just hearing as well there that there's another drive-through penalty that's been awarded.
Oh, Ridley's been given one.
Yeah, for his rotation on that one as well. So early penalties there. I think this is where the key action is going to be for the next, well, maybe not the next 14 minutes, but certainly in the closing stages of this race.
Let's see if I can find exactly where. You did mention that there was a second incident that we didn't look at before, and I've just found it. The Brockbank that ended up facing the wrong way on lap 1. I found it, so we'll have a little look-see, but this is why Kyle Ridley's been given a drive-through penalty. The Juiced, Frog Juice guys, they won't be too happy with their lap 1 of this series, but yeah, I think that one's pretty relatively clear-cut.
Yep. Yeah, just a little crossover there, and not enough room given, so it is a little bit of justice, unfortunately. We're still on board here with Chase Hoyt. Perhaps just maintaining at the moment. The nature of the track, not a ton to be grabbed by drafting, particularly not through this section of the track here. We've got a slow moving car on the inside there, the 39 of TJ. It was up 2 spots, but not too sure what happened there. Maybe you got to slow down. We've just run a little wide.
Tell you what he's done. He's done a classic spin that you have at this circuit. Just putting the power down a little too early, over-rotating the car with the hot tyres, hot track conditions, and around he went. He'd save it very well, but it's enough to lose him a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Word of mouth signs there, bringing us that replay. Series sponsor. We're back up in front here, having a look at Macedo, who is on the back of Mazomo. That gap's closed down a little there. This is, of course, going to help Kuznetsov out at the front. And Macedo as well has got Leonard behind him. So it's pretty close to 2, 3, and 4 here. And if there's too much fighting, as always happens in racing, Mike Pepper and Ben Brazier may just close up onto the back of this pack. You can see them just in the back of the picture there. Still got a couple of seconds to go before they make it onto this pack, but that can close down very, very quickly. As we're having a look at Brazier now.
Oh, Macedo through.
Yeah, he's gone through. He's almost trying to get the switch back on him. Probably will still be able to close that out. In fact, he does. But Macedo having a look down the inside, real hard corner to get it pulled up and do the pass there. Wasn't quite able to do it. You've got to get down into the bowl there and use as much of the inside of the track there as you legally can. Try and get the car turned around and create that run down through this segment of the track through Kumo. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Lewandijk. I might have got there.
You're pretty close. Pretty close.
Pretty close. Thank you.
That
I'll
one.
get there eventually.
By the end of the night, you'll be an expert in Dutch and former Dutch IndyCar champions. Connor Nixon is bringing the car into the pits. Now, that is a black flag for the incident we saw at Turn 2. No surprise in that one as well. When we saw that, we thought there was an incident coming. Kyle Ridley's night has gone from bad to worse. Have a look at what happened here. This is almost a slow motion replay of what we saw with TJ just before.
Yeah, so just getting on the power too early there. Another good save and good avoidance from Trevor Hearn there to get around the back and probably maybe get one off track to his name, but certainly not get 4 and the damage that goes with it. There was another drive-through awarded there as well, so race control just hot on these couple little incidents that have started early. Can't catch who that was. What we'll see.
Yeah, Connor Nixon was the third one.
It was Connor Nixon.
Yeah.
It was Connor Nixon, so he's served that already. So he actually the call there did him a favour because he got straight in. He was right there as that came across the radio, so able to get that out of the way earlier rather than later.
He's not too far away from the top 12 as well, so 12th position is Paul Brockbank, who's not that far up the road. I can actually, new overlays we've got, I can do this. There we go, 7.7 seconds. He could get there.
Yeah, he could. Absolutely. There's 10 minutes to go, and as this pack continues to close, he will get some assistance as well, you'll figure. Everyone in front of him is going to be just as keen to take those positions.
There's one.
Rose as well involved in this pack, as well as Nixon and Hunt. So you called it early. You said this will get close in that sort of position 8 through 14 or 15. And we're just seeing that come to fruition now. As we look at the back of Paul Brockbank. He is being pursued by Jackson Pringle. Pringle last time around slightly faster as well, so just narrowing that gap ever so slightly.
Fastest driver last lap was Kuznetsov. He and Muzomo Masadou by far the fastest 3. But in the second area, Ray Oliver was quite quick, as was Holdcroft and Pepper. But everyone else, there's no one that's really doing blistering times. But for Jackson Pringle and Paul Brockbank, they're the two that are really setting the pace in the midfield at the moment.
Yeah, they stand out. I mean, you got them doing 141s and everyone around them doing 42s. So that gap will definitely come up. So your Pringle's on the pace, Brockbank's on the pace, and so's Trevor Hearn. So Edwards a little slower last time around. And identical times for Leonard and Pepper last lap too, as we look at another replay here.
Guerrero's run into issues at turn 3. Runs off the circuit. It gets very bad very quickly for him because, well, Ben Harvey just coming in way too quick. Really have anywhere to go. And then Guerrero's like, well, how do I get the car facing the right way? It's too narrow. So he's had to go to the dirt and work out when he can flick spin it back. And the other thing, this car doesn't like doing flick spins too much. So he had to use the dirt to his advantage there, but did a good job to get it back facing the right direction. Clint Harvey, though, he's in a bit of trouble. I think he may have a mechanical black flag.
Yeah, it was a big hit, unfortunately, when you got nowhere to go. You see the bonnet there missing off the Porsche. So he's going to have to duck into pit lane and get that repaired if possible. 7 minutes to go. Just over 7 minutes to go here in race 1. The other thing you've got to be careful of as well, travelling that far backwards down the track, is you don't get a black flag for going the wrong way.
Yeah.
So
very easy to get DQ'd for that.
100%. So he did really well there. Albeit that he tried to save it and the grass just caught him out. So anyway, he will resume racing. So we can do with the rest of his time. As Macedo here puts the pressure on. We've also got on screen car 8, which is Dean Hunt, who's just coming under pressure again from Connor Nixon in the all black 168. Porsche. He's all over Hunt here. Last time around, Hunt in the mid 42s. Definitely under pressure. Doing a good job to harass him here. I think he's probably going to do 4 more laps. And so he's got time, and at the moment he's in P12. So this is always that risky question of the reverse top 12. He wants to make progress, but if he doesn't make any progress, he's going to shoot straight up to P1 for the feature race. So, but as you can see, there is absolutely no thought of that crossing his mind whatsoever as he puts the pressure on Hearn. Last lap,
oh no!
Oh, big lock-up.
There's a little bump there actually, so Nixon might find himself back under the wrath of race control again. Dean Hunt straight ahead at turn 1. That little bit of contact. It's also seen that Clint Harvey's received an iRacing black flag, so his night, we didn't think could have got much worse, but unfortunately it has.
You said over the radio as well, Dean Hunt's been awarded a drive-through 2 in car 8, so he's going to make another, I shouldn't say another, he's going to make a transit down the lane. So have a look here at the 168 of Nixon, just to see if there was a bump, and yeah, you picked it. There was, just caught out on the braking there. And,
sorry how far he missed the apex as well, so there's no doubt that he outbroke himself there.
Yeah, so that is going to push him way down the field. And it's just going to cross the radio as
Nixon
well.
drive-through penalty, so
there you go.
Probably the easiest decision race control will make all night. Seen some easy ones, we've seen some tough ones, but yeah, that one's an easy one.
It is, and that's where there's a little bit of mixed feedback about live race control, but in instances like that, clear cut, I think it's a positive thing to have in the series.
100%. You may not agree with the decision, but as I said before, as long as it's consistent the whole way through a series, doesn't matter what the calls are, as long as they're the same each week, week on week, I think you can adjust and adapt yourself driving style wise to whatever the series is implementing. It's when you see race control that a bit flexible in the decisions week on week is where you start having issues. But one thing we've seen in this series is race control are very consistent. Whether you agree with the decisions or not, the decisions are consistent week on week, which is the one thing that you ask for as a driver.
Yeah, and it's very difficult when you're in the car, hot-headed, etc., to understand what's actually happened as well. So race control, of course, have got a pretty clear picture of it. They've got the access to all of the images and things like that we're looking at here on the broadcast, so they can go back and have a look at it and make an educated decision.
See Nathaniel Coburn here. He had a little exit stage left at turn 1. He decided to go straight ahead, but no contact from anyone else, which is important to note. You have seen a little bit. Sorry to cut you off there. Battle for him too. Yeah, he's not had the best one. Yeah, he was. Unfortunately, it's a was now. Battle for 10th and 11th is closing up. Trevor Hearn doing very well. Now, one thing I haven't explained to you yet, and one thing that a lot of viewers that are new to the series would not know, top 10 in this series from the season previous retain that as their car number. So, see Ben Bray there, car 5, Tiago Macedo, car 2, Oliver, Edwards and Hearn, 4, 7 and 6. That is their position from last season's championship. So, you're wanting a bit of a guide on pace, that does help you as to where they were last season in this series.
It certainly makes it easier for people joining us for the first time.
Like yourself.
Macedo, yeah, absolutely. So Macedo definitely a capable driver given his P2 last season. So we've got 2 minutes 30 to go here. Just having a look at our race leader. They're in the back half of the circuit. So we'll stick on board here with Hearn and Edwards in this battle for 10th and 11th for the front row of the grid in the feature race. And there's pressure all over. Interesting the different lines the drivers take as well, trying to set up their pass in a couple of corners. I saw that as well with Macedo when he was looking on Mazzomo to try and make a pass there. And Edwards here have his eyes one eye on the rear view mirror if that's possible, one eye on the road in front of him, because Hearn's doing the same thing, just looking around as he does here as well, see if he can turn back in to try and make a pass. A little difficult there, but you've got to get a good run here to try and set up the opportunity down into 11 and 12, which we've spoken about before. Had a look at it. Oh, he's still thinking about it.
Hearn's in a difficult spot, though, isn't he? Hearn's in a difficult spot because does he want to make the move? Does he want to make the pass, or does he stick there, take a couple of point loss, but start P2 for the next race? It's a tough call.
It is, as Barney waves furiously that white flag. Magical man he is, gets himself in as well to do the start-finish line at every track we go to.
Some of the new tracks, he's actually got some new animations for his flag waving as well, so we'll see that when we go to Magny-Cours later in the season, in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, you had a little short-wristed one.
Yeah, you got the new F1, the old school F1 style. He's got a new one, which is really, really cool to see.
I think it'd be awesome if iRacing could bring him out onto the track so he could do it real old school style and jump up in the air and wave the checkered flag.
I used to love watching that back in the 90s. That was my favourite part of Formula One.
So maybe iRacing can bring that into it, but you never know. The battle for P2 is still really hot as well, as we're having a look at the battle for 11 and 12. We'll just jump up the front here and have a look. Mizomo's been defending, it feels like the entire race. He's had to really make sure, he's got an off in the background as well, but we're trying to make sure that he can defend here. And Macedo's tried everything, and keeping an eye on it. Just hasn't been able to engineer a move. Just see here, he closes right up. He's got to get a really good run here to have an opportunity down into 13 and potentially 14, or even to think about setting it up for a drag race to the finish line as Kuznetsov rounds the final corner, and he's going to head through and take out the first win in this season in the sprint race here. And it looks like Mizomo is going to just hold out Macedo in third, and then it's going to bring it home fourth with Brazier in fifth as we duck back here to Hoy and
oh, this is close.
One of Holdcroft. There we go. 0.064. That is fantastic racing there to the end, and the same here as well. You've got Edwards and Hearn, and then Brockbank bringing it across the line in P12, so he will be the pole sitter for our feature race. See Jackson Pringle just in the background there as well. Ray Punter in 22nd in the V8 Drive Day Porsche. That's one of the series sponsors as well. This performance 4x4 and VRace, so that was close the whole way through there.
It's shaping up to be a really good feature race when we get into the main event in a few minutes' time. But drivers at the front of the field all just slowly driving back to the pits. Very, very cool to see. Love it when drivers do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Better than bailing halfway through. And I mentioned it before, some of the liveries are fantastic. Those racecraft boys do a fantastic job with that gold and black livery that's caught my eye. So, racecraft, yeah. Big supplier to the sim racing world. But let's have a look at the results. 12 laps we got into our sprint race. 15-minute race there. Give yourself a guide for the 45-minute race, what you might be looking forward to. Rick Kuznetsov takes out the win ahead of teammate Simon Mizomo, who fought off Tiago Macedo for the entire race, who had Trevor Leonard with him as well in P4. Then Ben Brazier and Mike Pepper in 5th and 6th, with Mike Holdcroft in 7th, and Chase Hoy in 8th. We had Ray Oliver in 9th and Cam Edwards in 10th, with a great battle between those 5 drivers as well for a majority of that race as well. As we move back, Trevor Hearn in 11th and Paul Brockbank, they'll be making up our front row for our inverted top 12 feature race coming up shortly. Jackson Pringle will be 13th with Franz Esterbauer and Kurt Rose 14th and 15th. Dean Hunt in 16th with Kyle Ridley, my apologies, in 17th. Jesse Menemin in 18th with Nathaniel Coburn and TJ in 20th.
Last group of drivers will run through Brodie Watson, Barry Punter, John Akers, Craig Davison, Sam Derua, Greg Levine and Harry Dodds all finishing on the lead lap, but a tale of woe for Clint Harvey in mechanical black flag, and then getting a speeding in pit lane penalty after he got his mechanical black flag cleared, and Connor Nixon with 2 drive-throughs. He is going to have to be careful in the next one, because race control have to come in and issue a penalty in the next race. It may be a little bit harsher, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. Once bitten, twice shy comes to mind. But yeah, certainly going to have to make sure that he is in the clear for a majority of that feature race, or it could be night ending for him.
Big thanks to the series sponsors of the Southern Cross Esports Winter Series. Big thanks to V8 Drive Day Perth, so to VRace Experience, Word of Mouth Signs, and PPD Performance for being a part of this series. As we said before, this series running every 3 weeks. As we said as well, Zandvoort for tonight, but Motegi next week is going to next round, I should say, going to be interesting. But Magny-Cours and Fuji coming up on the Speedway are going to be very, very fun. Before we get into more familiar tracks for these cars, Road America, Phillip Island, Spa, and Mount Panorama, but a very, very cool schedule, this one.
Yeah, they put some thought into it, no doubt about it. Bringing in some of the new content as well, which we love to see. It makes our jobs a little bit more interesting as well, outside of the racing, just to see some of these new circuits that are coming to the sim. But definitely Spa is one of my favourites, so looking forward to seeing that, and Road America as well, as far as the traditional circuits go.
Also coming up as part of Southern Cross Esports, starting next week, is the Formula V National Esports Cup, presented by Southern Cross Esports and Motorsport Australia. You can catch that from 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time next Wednesday night, and entries are still open for that series. So for more information, send us a message on our Facebook page, or check out Southern Cross Esports on Facebook as well, and find out all about the series there. It's going to be very, very cool to see 50 Vs running around once again. We had awesome fun in the last Southern Cross Esports Formula V Championship, and it's going to be very, very fun again. Some cool racing coming up on SimSpeed over the next few weeks as well. Of course, dirt racing returning in a couple of weeks. 360 Power Series will return in a couple of weeks' time as part of ODSE. Of course, you'll be out on track tomorrow night in GT3 action. Got the Speedway 500 on the weekend. V8 Scops returns, and there's lots of cool stuff coming up over the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's a full card, absolutely, and a great amount of variety as well, so make sure that you tune in to SimSpeed to get your weekly dose of sim racing on iRacing. Got something for everyone, and Jay, there's no question about it at all.
Yeah, even Formula Racing, if you like getting up nice and early on a Saturday morning. It's 5 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time Saturday morning. It's some of the coolest racing you'll see on the iRacing service with some of the fastest drivers in the fastest car on the service, on the roadside. The McLaren W13, running as close to the real-world schedule as it can. Be running at Sebring, which is only just sort of down the road a little bit from Miami this weekend. That'll be very, very fun. So if you're up nice and early, join Jake Sperry and I for that. That'll be very, very entertaining. Because, of course, I'm not getting any sleep at the moment, so I might as well be up at 5 o'clock to broadcast.
Look, the likelihood is you probably would have been up at 5 o'clock anyway, so
100%.
you might as well make something of it. And of course, the easiest way to make sure you don't miss anything is to turn on notifications on your favourite streaming service, so that you get the alerts like I do when SimSpeed go live.
We are about to go through our starting grid for race number 2. Remember, as we said, it's the results from that race, but flip the top 12. So it will be Rockbank starting from P1 for the first feature race of the season. We'll get that up on screen in just a moment for you. But remember, the other part of this race coming up is the compulsory pit stop for 4 tyres some point after the 5-minute mark, before the 40-minute mark. Most will pit... Well, I was going to say most will pit late, but do you want to pit early and get out of traffic and then have your tyres warm when everyone else pits? I don't know what you want to do here.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, you're going to get out of traffic, but are you going to get out of traffic? I mean, Zandvoort's a relatively short circuit. We've got 30 cars on track, or 29 cars on track, I should say. As we have a quick look at who they are. Paul Brockbank into P1. Trevor Hearn earning the promotion as well. So they are our front row for this feature race, with Cam Edwards and Ray Oliver in row 2, or on row 2, I should say. Chase Hoy and Mike Holcroft will resume their battle from row 3 of the grid. joined by Mike Pepper and Ben Brazier, who equally wanted to get into those positions in our last race. Trevor Leonard and Thiago Macedo, watch for them to start pushing through this top 10 with some pace there, along with Simon Mazzomo and Sir Rick Kuznetsov, if his iRacing profile is anything to go by, in P12. Jason Pringle and Franz Esterbauer in 13th and 14th, where they did finish our sprint races. We get into the back half of the grid. Kurt Rose and Dean Hunt off row 8. Row 9 is Kyle Ridley and Jesse McMenamin. And then we've got Nathaniel Coburn and TJ in the 39 PPD livery Porsche. Brody Watts and Barry Punter off row 11. Craig Davison and Sam... Oh, something's just changed there. Apologies. John Akers and Craig Davison off row 12. 13, Sam Derua and Harry Dodds will be looking to improve over his first race, with Greg Levine and Clint Harvey as well. Struggling with a little bit of damage there. Then we've got Connor Nixon and the pace car listed out there on the grid. See, I'm not sure. I think, Jay, the strategy of long tyres at the end, just about to work through the grid there, is probably actually the one to go by. So an early pit stop for me, if you can get out in the clean air, depending, we didn't see massive amounts of difference between times across our 30 cars, about 29 cars. So that might be the play, particularly if you're stuck. So I'm thinking about those drivers all stuck in that close battle for that majority. You're not going to do too much drafting here. That might be a way for one of them to try and play to see if they can get up to the like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think there's going to be lots of different ideas around it. I don't think we're really going to know which one's right until we get to the checkered flag, are we? I think what we've seen, though, from the start of the race was everyone was very, very tedious on their tyres on lap 1. And then lap 2, we saw a few self-spins and straight-ahead moments and things like that, especially at turn 1. So I think a few drivers will be thinking, oh, maybe I need to be a bit cautious when I actually pit, because I think if you do come out in traffic, you're almost going to have to leave yourself open to giving up positions as well. So this is going to be really interesting when we get to that phase of the race. We'll probably see around minute 20, 25, 30 when we're going to see everyone come in. But 4 tyres as well is going to be very, very difficult. The other thing about that too is changing your mindset when you do change those 4 tyres. Because you've been out on track for so long, tyres have come up to temperature, you've got yourself in a rhythm, you understand how the car's behaving. Bang, change of tyres. The tyres are completely different. The car's completely different. The balance of the car's completely different. You almost have to start again, but you're not starting the race again. So it's very, very hard to get that mindset to reset while you're still in race mode. The start of the race is a bit different because you know it's the start of the race. I need to start slowly build up. But when you're already in race mode, it is very hard to take yourself back a gear mentally to get yourself in the right frame of mind to get into slow down mode and pace yourself mode again.
And as you mentioned it during the sprint race as well, double points in this feature race. So that has to play into the minds, particularly of, I think, Macedo, as well as Mazzomo and Kuznetsov. Probably going to be the ones who want to make their way through this field relatively quickly. And we did see them probably about a second faster than the majority of the rest of the field. So for them, it's a strategy that might play out quite well. They'll be able to make up some crossover. But as we head around Kumo into the final corner, the control of Brockbank and Hearn, who are waiting for that pace car to peel into the right there, into pit lane. I said Barney off in the distance there as we kick off the first feature race of this season. They accelerate away and Barney waves the flag. Off and running here for the feature race. Guys moving around in the background there with 3, 4, 5 wide in the background, heading down into turn 1. Cold tyres. Can he pull it up on the inside there? 15. He can. He gets it done. There's Mike Pepper. Manages to pull that up. It looks like everyone's getting through in the background as we head down towards...
Oh, no.
Off on the inside there.
It's Brockbank.
Brockbank. So cold tyres. He's made a rejoin. Oh, and there's Bank up as well. Short race control. And there's contact as well.
Harry Punter around.
Yeah. Punter just got punted, unfortunately for him. He's off on the outside. There's going to be a bit of damage to that Porsche. It was quite a heavy hit. So a few early instances of those cold tyres perhaps catching out the drivers there. You can see there, it looks like Trevor Hearn as well just struggled a little bit. As I think Connor Nixon's had to jump out. The 87 as well of Jonathan Akers looks to be damaged in the background. They're both moving very slowly on track. In fact, they're bailed out to the pits.
Yeah, Punter and Nixon have both decided to bail and they may face a penalty from race control. This series does run a no escape rule in the race conditions with the manual safety car, so they may find themselves in a little bit of trouble from race control. As looking up the inside there is a 777 of Chase Hoy has a little bit of a think about a move, but Rick Kuznetsov's already up 4 spots into 8th position.
Yeah, he benefited a little bit as well from the start. He got out right down on the inside and managed to get that done early on, as well as Mike Pepper did. Mike sort of went with him. Managed to pull that up down the inside as we jump on board now with Rick in the 888 race 1 winner. He's got to be a little careful here because he definitely knows he'll have the pace. Cold tyres still of those around him. Saw Trevor Hearn struggling a little bit at the front of the field with traction out of turn 9 on that first lap. Caught a little bit of the dirt, but also just probably got on the gas a little early in the cold tyres. You can just see here Hearn defending heavily against Ray Oliver. And this is what we're talking about that check-up from these drivers at the front for those faster 3 from our race 1. So those front 2 have broken away ever so slightly, but still struggling as we jump on a replay here to try and dissect what happened on this opening lap. And contact, yeah, down on the inside there. And that is definitely going to be had a look at. Whether there was room or not, we'll have to see. But Paul Brockbank there, just the re-entry just causing a check-up there. The 86, I think that might have been of Davison. And then it's just back behind this as well.
And this has just happened as well while we're watching this replay. This is Thiago Massadou. Straight ahead, almost runs into the rear of the 777 of Hoy. Just goes off the circuit.
Yeah, and that could have been what we were talking about with that pace difference as well there. Maybe Hoy just a little bit unsettled on the colder tyres.
Hoy's gone off as well.
Yeah, so that probably sort of plays into what we were just mentioning there. So maybe a little bit unsettled on the colder tyres. Got some damage there on the right-hand front corner of the 777 as well. And that might have just caught out. Macedo as well, just on that fast section of the track. So Trevor Hearn goes through, and Brazier takes the fastest lap of the race so far. 40.9, it's not bad pace to start out with.
Harry Dodd's losing the spot there to Massadou. Trevor Leonard making moves as well as he goes around the outside of Mike Pepper. There's Mizomo, who thinks, well, the door's open, I'm going to take it. And he will get the spot here, you would think, with that run down through. No, he's actually going to back out of it and wait to take the spot. But he's up into P8, already up 3 spots. But Kuznetsov just ahead. He's already up 7 positions into P5.
I was going to say Pepper did a good drive there. Did a good job there to get good drive out of that corner and be able to defend the position into the next sequence of corners. So I don't think it's long here. You can see Mizoma just trying to have another look down the inside there as they head down through turn 9, which does close up on you a little bit too. So not able to get that done through 10 now in the all-important run up to Hounds Ernst. As we have a look here, that's what we're talking about there with that corner just closing in on you a little bit. And the 777 to Chase Hoy, his race 2 going from bad to worse, unfortunately.
Wondering...
Kuznetsov gets through.
Yeah, we just saw him get through on Cam Edwards. Edwards was the car that made contact there with Chase Hoy. So whether Edwards is just down on pace due to damage or just didn't have enough there to fight Kuznetsov. But side by side here for Leonard and Pepper, they've got to be careful of Mizomo because he's going to have the natural line. He will have momentum with some draft as well. And discount Michael Holdcroft there in the...
hey, look at him go.
very colourful car he's got.
They're just deciding which direction they're going to split out, playing a game of...
Oh, no. Mizomo makes contact with Leonard. Leonard is around.
That's not going to play out well there, I don't think, for Mizomo. Maybe just a little patience. Going to replay when we can, but that's unfortunate.
He's redressing the position, you can tell. Yeah.
So that's good driving from him to do that. But they sort of all broke apart here, and you've got to pick your line and then try and get the car turned in. And I just don't think he quite had enough length to be able to get it pulled up, just with where he ended up in terms of track position there. So
he missed the apex by a fair bit, didn't he? He missed the apex by a decent margin.
Maybe just not able to get it turned in, as you say. So disappointing for him. Maybe they'll take that redress into account as 19 of Paul Brockbank is around. I want to come back here all that soon as he slams that Porsche into the fence. That is going to be a lot of damage on that car now to try and repair.
He's done it by himself by the looks of it here, and this is just a cold tyre self-spin. And that, I think, he would have been okay with. He's hit a tyre bundle, but that recovery, he's obviously stalled the car as well. Now, hearing some technical issues for Chase Hoy. He's lost audio, so I know from personal experience how difficult that's going to hurt the car, that spin back. He's actually received a mechanical black flag from that secondary hit.
Yeah,
but,
it's in the left front corner of it.
Definitely has. But he's in a bit of trouble. Oh, we were just watching that as well. I was a little distracted by that. Have a look at what's happened at the front of the field here. This is into turn one. We've got a new leader of the race.
Ray Oliver here making the move down the inside, so just getting it pulled up in time.
Ooh, contact.
So it's just bumped him wide a little bit there, and Trevor Hearn and Rick Kuznetsov involved in this lead pack, fighting for the front of the field. So we were also coming up on some lap traffic there.
I think that's is that McBenjamin, who he's had to come in and fix a mechanical black flag as well. Trevor Hearn just losing a spot there. I'm wondering if Hearn's got a little bit of damage from that hit there. But Ray Oliver will be worried about a potential penalty incoming. We've also just seen that Brockbank has been given a black flag. That'll be for the re-entry, the incident on lap 1 at turn 2. Not for the actual incident that it put him in the fence early on, but for the very poor re-entry that he made.
Yeah, and it looks like Mike Holcroft's just gone around as well.
We were just talking him up.
We were. There's a commentator's curse, you know it's real. But he's gone around, but managed to get that back. There's still plenty of time to go for him to recover from there. We're, believe it or not, for all of that, just on our way towards 10 minutes into this one. So if you just joined us, pit stop. It's been made between 5 and 40 minutes in this race. So we'll see now if some of those strategies are going to play out. At this stage, no one choosing the early option, which I thought was probably going to be the one to go. We had a couple have to go through. We're having a look here.
Well, Trevor Hearn's gone straight ahead.
Yes, indeed. Macedo there was looking as well. He's trying to recover from his early incident. He's on the back of Rose here. Trevor Hearn. We've got Jackson Pringle just starting to check out a little bit at the front of this pack.
Ray Oliver's not checking out though. Brent Breyer's doing a great job of sticking with him here, and I think he's feeling the pressure from Rick Kuznetsov, race 1 winner, in behind him as well. But yeah, the front of the field is definitely very close.
Yeah, it is indeed. And Ridley there, you can see in the background, I think it's a lap car getting out of the way there. No, it's not. That's 151. That's Rose. He's just run a little wide there. It's made him susceptible to Hunt. And to Ridley, we're trying to find a way around. They've got to get a good exit there if they're going to put any sort of pressure on Daniel de Haans. Quite able to get up the inside there. It's definitely a challenging move to try and pull off. They'll try and set themselves up for the run down the main straight in this final carousel.
Very cool section of the track. Of course, this final corner here, the real world now heavily banked to encourage DRS in Formula Racing and the like. As I just see up the front there, Mike Pepper and Cameron Edwards just were having a change of position. But I think Pepper outbroke himself. Edwards was going to give up the spot, but got a little messy there.
Yeah, it did. So, try and have a look at that one. We'll hear someone having a look at it anyway. listed that one. I'm going to have a little bit of a look at it. See if there was anything untoward. We'll do our job first. Give me our feedback. Will I listen?
I hope they don't listen because my feedback's absolutely useless.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Edwards was giving that spot up. He didn't want to have anything to do with it. He was content. I'm thinking that Edwards has a little bit of damage from that incident early on. Because remember, he did make contact with the 777 of Chase Hoy, who now has got geez, if my talking could work. The thing connected to my face would put out the words properly. Edwards may have some steering damage because that contact he made with Hoy was right into that left front wheel. So there is a potential the wheel might be okay. He looks straight, but
it's definitely damaged on that left-hand front corner, though. You can see it on the top there because he just pulls that up and under. He'll get away with that. Have to use a little bit of the exit here. Managed to get through, but definitely got damage there. And I think you're right. Mike Pepper might have just outbraked himself there slightly as well. So he may come under the scrutiny of race control. We might have to go into the naughty book. We'll just see what they say. I'll keep you updated on that. He is currently still sitting in fourth now, and he's got a good gap back to this pack. Look at the pack a little bit further back there as well, with 5 or 6 cars. Still absolutely having a red-hot crack at it.
Paul Brockbank has just retired his car from the race after his issues as well, unfortunately. Oh, a little bit of contact there as the 949 of Watts just cuts off the nose there. Kyle Ridley, and you've got Harry Dodds in that group as well.
So this is a good part of the track to try and make a pass if you can. You've got to get a really good run up the hill to make it happen.
Good recovery from Harry Dodds. Sorry to cut you off there. He's up double the positions he started with, so he's already up half the field. Started 26th, up into 13th. Very, very nice drive.
Absolutely. We were saying earlier about how hard it can be to pass around here, so he's doing a fantastic job. The juiced liveried cars. Fantastic livery. You'll get to know I'm obsessed with liveries. I love it. We've got the
there's worse things you can be obsessed with in racing, I think. Very, very cool. As TJ just loses a spot there to Clint Harvey, who goes on through. And that very, very silver chrome livery. You like that one too?
Just a little bit of connectivity issues there for Mike Holcroft too, just blinking a little bit on the screen. But he's doing a good job as well. Just to try and rebuild. As we have a look down into turn 1 here. And Rick Kuznetsov gets the move made on Ben Brazier. Moves up into P2. That's 10 spots for him. Fastest lap of the race as well as it stands. Rick just pushing forward here, just managing things. Let's have a look at an incident here.
TJ, he's just looped it.
TJ, he's just dropped the wheel. He got a clip there as well.
It was Esteban that gave him a little bump on the way through.
You see there the slight damage on the back of the car. That shouldn't be too bad.
Esteban's front, there's a tiny little crinkle in it, but it looks like it will be okay to continue on. Franz Esteban, who we decided last season was our biggest improver in this whole series. He's driven from being a legitimate backmarker to a very, very competitive and staunch mid-pack runner, pushing for top 10s each and every round. He's had a couple of top 10s last season, so Franz is one to watch. By the end of the season, by the time he gets his head around the car, don't be surprised to see him pushing for top 5s as well. So Franz Esteban doing a very, very good job in the giant Mandra car. There's Clint Harvey just ahead, has a big moment. Almost puts it into the fence on both sides and then loses a spot to Franz. So there's a spot. Keeping it on the track, keeping it straight. Franz Esteban gets another spot. Oh no, commentator's curse right on cue.
And he's locked it up. Just giving that one back. He's managed to pull that up, actually. That's really good driving from him.
Simon Mazzomo's just gone through to take position, but he will lose some spots back because he's just getting given a black flag drive-through penalty from race control for that incident from earlier. Not surprised, even though he did redress the position, still received a black flag, so probably be regretting redressing the position. Race control has decided it doesn't matter that you've addressed the position, you've still caused someone to lose positions.
I think that's pretty reasonable, given what we saw as we're on board now with Kuznetsov, who's putting pressure all over the back of Ray Oliver. Fantastic shots here out of the Porsche as they make their way around down here through turn 9. So when we're talking about narrowing up, you can see here there's a couple of different lines you can take out of this corner to set yourself up for turn 10.
They all feel wrong though.
They do. It's a really interesting part of the track as Kuznetsov there, I was going to say, takes the narrower line, gets the better drive, but it puts him in the wrong side of the track for turn 11 and 12. So he's going to have to either be really brave or surrender here, and he's surrendered to try and get the switchback. If he can get that around there, he's going to be on the inside for the following corner, but not quite there yet. So he's going to be all over the back of our race leader, Ray Oliver. He is. And what he needs to do here is set the run up. You can see he's done it really well here. If he can keep the drive up, Oliver will be looking a little bit in his rearview mirror here, because Kuznetsov will be looking for that dive down into turn 1. Use that little bit of draft he's going to get. May not quite be close enough there. You saw he had to pull up a little bit through turn 13 through Kumo. And just hampered his efforts down into turn 1. At the same time, Ben Brazier doing a good job to just keep touch with the back of Kuznetsov. We saw in race 1 a lot of drivers using the pass in front to gain a position themselves.
Mistake.
Front wide, Ray Oliver. He's pushed it wide. That's opened the door for Kuznetsov and probably for Brazier too. So we're on board with Brazier now. He's going to have a look. Can he get up there? As we head up towards turn 7, can he make anything out of it? Oliver's recovered reasonably well out of that push. He's going to hold that position, but a change at the lead. Kuznetsov gets out in front. 27 minutes to go in this race.
No surprise that Kuznetsov's got to the front based on his pace we saw in race 1, but that was very, very good driving from Oliver to hold the spot. He just checked up in the middle of the apex of both 13 and 14 just to mean that, or just to ensure that Kuznetsov couldn't get a run on him, but then he's just thrown it all away with that one little error. But look at the gap that Kuznetsov's already pulled out of this broken ahead. He's already nearly a second clear. He is flying out there right now.
Absolutely, he is a great driver, doing really well. A little bit of damage there as well on the left-hand front of Ray Oliver's car. Not sure if that impeded him. Pringle and Aceto, this is the battle I've been keeping my eye on in the background. Aceto is one of those drivers, I think, here who may benefit from the strategy we're talking about. Right now, he's probably being held up a little bit by Jackson Pringle. It took him a while to get past Trevor Hearn as well. So really, in the pit lane, grab the tyres, get them warm in some fresh air, and really move yourself beyond this pack is probably the strategy that I'd be thinking about right now. Because once again, it looks like he's not going to quite be able to get the job done to move up on Pringle. And at the front, as you pointed out, you've got Kuznetsov ducking off into the distance. As in the background there, I think it was Simon Mazzomo pulling in. No, it was Dean Hunt, my apologies, pulling in. He is going to be serving his pit stop.
Zomo in serving that black flag. I just saw it too. We just missed it off camera there, but Bray has got through on Ray Oliver. So I'm wondering if Oliver's got something else going on. But Oliver looks a little bit rattled since that lockup a lap ago. He just doesn't look like he was while he was holding that position for the lead.
Yeah, maybe just overheated the tyres a little bit in trying to just push from Kuznetsov, and it's pushed him wide, of course. Did have that...
He's done the same thing again.
Yeah, the same thing again. The car's just pushed him out there now. There's a few marbles starting to collect as well, so once you're out there, a little less traction than you normally would have too, so just had to surrender that position there. Having a look. 25 with Kyle Ridley. Dodds has just gone past him. He's off as well. Is it Kurt Rose? Yeah, and just having a look there.
Clint Harvey in the background too, starting to gain positions. He's up 14, but Harry Dodds is up 16 positions. Brody Watt's up 13 positions. The drivers that all had big issues in that first race are doing really well. And, well, we thought it was potentially coming with that incident we saw, and it has just come drive-through penalty for Mike Pepper. And I don't think we're too surprised by that, considering what we've seen throughout the night.
No, absolutely not. Good consistent call there from race control. So that's a drive through for him. And Mike Holcroft coming in. He's going to do his tyre change. Get that done. Kuznetsov 2.8 to the good. We'll have a look here at the battle for fourth as
Asadou's got through.
finally got through. So he's got a little bit of work to do to move onto the back of Ray Oliver. It's about 6 seconds to the good. It's in the background. You can just see there as well, Pringle. So it's sort of starting to spread. Brody Watts is in a bit of his own battle at the moment, but Edwards is under pressure from Dodds and Ridley.
Dodds has got good pace. He obviously didn't get to show it in race 1 with him dropping back all the way to the back of the field, but he's definitely got better pace than P9 shows. So he'll be looking to try and get himself up into a top 5 if he can.
Now to 46 as well. Some of the times dropping well into the 42s and beyond for the majority of our field. Talk about pace because Kuznetsov there still in the 40s, albeit the high 40s last lap around. So he was in the 39s in the slightly cooler race 1, but you can just see there the pace just dropping off a little bit. That's going to contribute to the drivers just struggling that little bit more through the second part of this race. As into pit lane comes Brody Watts. Does a good job to get that pulled up. And we'll get 4 new boots on it. So we're going to start to get to see that change of tyre and how it impacts on the drivers in those 1 or 2 laps after the pit stop. So they have to do 4 tyres.
Dean Hunt is the lead car that has made his 4-tyre pit stop. He's probably the one to watch over the next few laps.
Looking on his lap times here. So we've got Pepper, Leonard and Watts all in pit lane at the moment.
Looking about a 50-second-ish time loss from your pit stop as well. So coming to the pits, you got a 35 to 40-second pit stop for the 4 tyres. Then from there, you obviously have to transit the lane. So you're looking at about a 45 to 50-second net loss. Brody Watts is now potentially going to be the lead car that has made his stop. 38 and a half odd second stop, and away he goes.
Akers
Comes home
as well. Oh, and we've got side by side exiting pit lane there as well.
Pepper and Leonard.
Very careful not to get out too early there and get a black flag for incorrect exit out of pit lane. Both the drivers get through.
Something's happened to Clint Harvey on this lap. I'm just trying to see if I can work out exactly what has happened to him, but he's lost a whole heap of time on this lap, around about 5 to 6 seconds. So, I have found it. He's made a big self-error here. There's a tyre that these guys are out there. Oh no, he's just run. Oh no, yeah, broke himself there. I was about to say, has the tyre got to the point now where the tyre life, with the ultra hot conditions, now that the cutoff point is here where, oh, could we see a safety car? This is very big.
Pace Hoy parked off on the side of the track with no sound as we understand it. So will not potentially even be able to ask for permission to jump out of that car and get it towed. So you may well, if you can't get that turned around and back into pit lane, as we have a look at the replay here. Heavily damaged right-hand front corner on that car. And he's just run it off to the left on the grass. Pulled up okay. But then banged straight into the wall. So
they've allowed him to clear.
Get that out. So they've got him out because we've got one of our stoppers as well, Greg Levine. He's just run off track in the background too, as we're just having a look here at Nathan Coburn missing a bonnet. Brody Watts come back around. Oh! Edwards on cold tyres out of pit lane. He's going to get a black flag for this.
Wow, he's had to re-enter pit lane from that too. So not only has he hyperheated the tyres, he's going to get an unsafe pit exit. It's all 100% self-inflicted. I think he's
just lit up.
Yeah, or that he's unticked, well, he turned off his pit lane speed limiter and then flicked it back on while he's at speed or something.
Yeah, something's happened to him there, but
he hasn't got a black flag yet, but it's coming, you think?
You would suggest so, as Kato is in. Macedo, I'm going to get that right at some stage. I'm hoping that one of the pronunciations I've given is correct, and then I'll get told which one it is, so I'm going to move on. And we'll get a 949 here as well, just getting past down the inside.
Oh, what's through?
Michael Holcroft too. In the 51. Very bright livery, that one.
Holcroft had a little bit of an advantage, got 1 lap newer tyres, so they're probably now not far off optimal conditions. Hearing probably 3 to 4 laps is about where you start to find you're at reasonably good conditions for lapping now on the current generation of these tyres. Can confirm that Cam Edwards has got away with no penalty.
Unbelievable.
It's lucky is what it is.
How he's done that. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know maybe if it's because it happened in pit lane, but anyway, whatever it is, it's the luck of the draw, and he's got through as Macedo leaves pit lane in P10. So he's going to have cold tyres. He's got Mazomo a couple of spots in front of him, so he's still yet to pit. Let's see if he drive through, however. So what does he do? Does he play the long game and duck in just at the end to see how far up he can finish?
He probably has to come in as late as possible as Nathaniel Coburn into the wall. This car looks pretty heavily beaten up as Ben Breyer comes in the lap 17.
Did he get that pulled up? He was very hot in there. It looks like someone just hit pit wall there as well on the way down the front straight. Jackson Pringle in as well. What's going on here?
Craziness by the looks of it. It's Jonathan Akers and Greg Levine battling over 24th position. I don't think either of them want the position. They look like they're happily giving it up to each other, and then neither of them wanted to drive on.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very unusual. So we've got Dodds, Fraser and Pringle in. Derua's just come in as well. So Zomo now, I believe, other than Kuznetsov, Oliver and Rose are the only 4 drivers on their original tyres still.
Yeah, and Coburn as well hasn't pitted yet either, but he's in a little bit of a world of hurt.
Yeah, he is as well. Thank you. So this will play out all right for Mazomo, but he did lose that sort of 20-odd seconds on that pit transit that he had to make. So adjusted is going to be somewhere in the vicinity of just outside the top 10, potentially a little bit further back. As who was that off in the distance there? Someone went straight ahead at turn 1.
Thiago Macedo actually going straight ahead. Yeah, I was a bit surprised by that. So that's... He just come out of the pits, did he not?
He did. This, I think, was his first hot lap, first flying lap around. So maybe just outbraked himself still on the cool tyres. That's a costly error for him. He'd done well to fight his way back up. To have a look at him on screen now. There's the word of mouth signs for this replay. Yeah, he's just going way too hot. Just missed it all together. Managed to keep it off the wall. Get back out there, so we'll let those tyres cool a little bit more, or hopefully warm a little more evenly, I guess.
Another replay here. This is Ray Oliver's entrance into the pit lane. Now, wondering about commitment into the pits. This is called commitment.
There's that wall that you spoke about earlier on. And again, he may get a speeding and pit lane penalty for that. There's no chance he got that pulled up in time. As Kuznetsov, race leader, leaves pit lane. And leaves pit lane in the lead of the race because Oliver's in, and so is Mazomo. So we start to get a look at how the order has panned out after these pit stops. Kuznetsov still in the lead with Brazier and Oliver. Interested to see where Mazomo falls out. He's just there on the jacks getting the tyres done. So it is Kuznetsov, Brazier and Oliver to resume the battle up the front here. They've got a good gap, but the battle for 4th is going to be on. So 4th and 5th with Hunt, Watts. Again, it's still able to get in there. Macedo's still in there. So this group that we're looking at now is going to be hot right to the end of the race. And it goes all the way back to P13. So plenty of change left in the next 14 minutes. The battle for 7th comes up on the screen there. You can see the gap is not too much more than a tissue. Let's cover these 6 places.
Everyone has now made their compulsory pit stop, and from what I can see, everyone has done the proper service. We did know that a few drivers did some whoopsies in previous seasons where they only took 2 tyres by mistake. Had to come back in for a second stop, but can confirm everyone has taken 4 tyres, so pit stops have been served by every single car as Trevor, Leonard and Brodie Watt side by side through turn 10. Leonard on the outside, going to have to give up a little bit of time there to Watts and may leave himself open to Macedo coming through, and he'll have the green mist as well. He'll be trying to come on forward, the red mist even. I don't know where green mist come from. Sounds a bit more pleasant, doesn't it?
Doesn't matter. Oh, there's a contact there between the 2 of them as well. Macedo's down in the bowl trying to get his way around the corner. Leonard and Watts fighting furiously through that corner. Not a traditional place to make passes by any stretch of the imagination, but possible, I guess, if you're creative enough. So head back down on the straight. Everyone's loving that dirt patch there on the left as well. Head down into turn 1 again. There's a move on in the background. That's a big dive down the inside from Pepper.
Well done, Pepper.
Gets it done, gets it pulled up, and it looks like he wants to take his teammate with him too as well. Kyle Ridley there, trying to take advantage.
Oh no!
There's contact there, and Holcroft off on the inside, and I dare say Ridley off for a trip down pit lane.
It was very ambitious, that move, wasn't it?
It was. It's bad luck there as well for Holcroft, because he was doing well. Oh! Leonard just manages to hold that on. That could have been tragic. And Macedo here is just getting real aggressive. Keep with it. He's got the green mist in the eyes tonight.
The aggression levels are definitely up there for some of those drivers that had issues and have felt the wrath from race control. You can tell that it's really got to a few of the drivers. Pepper definitely won. Ridley in race 1, we saw, and in this second race he's really been aggressive. But Harry Dodds, we've seen how aggressive he's been in this one as well. So drivers that haven't had great nights at the start, they're really trying to make inroads for it now.
Remembering double points available here for the drivers too, so every place counts twice as much if you can make it stick. Watt's doing a good job here. Like Macedo's just, he's got the bit between his teeth. He's really pushing hard here, and he's got the good run out of the final corner as Watts ran wide. Grabbed that dirt I mentioned on the last lap around. You can see here, Macedo has checked out, but it's 3 wide in the background there as Mike Pepper is the benefactor. So Leonard now's got the work to do. Kyle Ridley's just sitting there in the background.
This is on board with Holcroft. So there's the overtake we saw. That was a very, very nice move from Mike Pepper to somehow pull it up after doing the same thing earlier on and not pulling it up. But this one here, as we said, yeah, I think based off the consistency factor, I think, as you said, we may see Kyle Ridley coming for a little trip down the pit lane.
Yeah, unfortunately so. Track just closes up a little there as well, so it's always going to be tough to pull it off. Clouds have cleared. Get bright sunny conditions back here for the final 10 minutes. The Southern Cross Esports Winter Series at Zandvoort, which is called V8 Drive Day. I think we're going to have an action-packed 10 minutes if the last 5 or so have been anything to go by. Still got this cluster of cars as Rick Kuznetsov just puts in fastest lap of the race at 40.1.
I guess we know when the tyres are up to optimal temp. 3 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Not quite able to get down to the race 1 times, but the track temp higher now, so a great lap from him. And over a second faster than P2. Let's jump on board again here with Tiago. Our Brazilian driver in the series. He has a look. Can he get it stopped? It's been tough all night to get the move done down there. He does well, and space given to him too, which helps out immensely. That was a good move from him. Gets that move done and makes it stick on Dean Hunt. So a great move there. Another position gain. Simon Zomo says, anything you can do, I can do better, Rick, as he almost drops down into the 39s as he tries to make his way back up through the field after he stopped and drive through. And I can tell you he's 2 seconds a lap faster than just about everyone in between himself and the top 10. So he is pushing.
100%.
Yeah. Last lap, 40 to a 42. So he's got time. Probably 5 laps to get it done.
Going to be tough for him to get back into the top 12 or so, but definitely top 15 is possible based on his pace at the moment. So come back to that too, because this battle pack is still going as it was before.
As they head up towards Hart's, I believe. No, corner too early. No, I was right, up to Hart's. Because Netsov now says, no, 39s is where it's at. Do what you can do, Simon. So puts the challenge down. There's another fastest lap goes. It's the third one in consecutive laps. This battle here is where it is all interesting. It's pretty stable at the front because that's off from Brazier, from Oliver. Trevor Hearn just running in a little bit of a race of his own, which you probably won't mind at this point in time. And then it's Pringle all the way back through to probably Brodie Watts in 12th, who are having a good hard look at where they might finish this race up. Just under 8 minutes to go. Harry Dodds, 20 spots gained.
It's huge, isn't it? And he's still got time to gain maybe one or, yeah, probably one. I couldn't see him gaining 2 unless there's a mistake at the front, but Dodds, legitimate chance for a top 5 here. He's only 1.3 seconds behind Jackson Pringle, who's done a very good job all said and done himself. He's up 8 spots as well. Remember, he just missed out on the reverse grid pole, so he's done a good job to get himself into the top 5 for now.
The exciting thing about these reverse top 12 races is generally that top 10 to 12 drivers are relatively close together. So just because you're 12th doesn't mean you're the 12th fastest driver, and none of them can maintain their positions at the front of the field. It'll just be poor qualifying. And result is there's a dive from Leonard, doesn't quite pull it off, but he's got a good run here on Dean Hunt as they head up towards Ernst, who is going to be the one who is brave enough, if they're brave at all, or can get creative enough to make it work. You can see there in the background as well, the 15 and Mike Pepper jogging on the spot. He's looking for blood. Can he get it done?
3 Frog Leap juiced racing cars all together, and none of them have anything on former series champion Trevor Leonard, who is actually breaking away a tiny little bit here. They've closed back in with the draft, but Leonard's doing everything right here to make these guys feel a little bit flustered. They're starting to make ambitious moves and do things that they may not normally, as Pepper does what he's done a few times and pulls it up at turn 1. I think there's only the once that he hasn't pulled it up from that inside move, and that of course resulted in a drive-through, but other than that he's done very good there. But with that side-by-side moment there, Trevor Leonard's now checked out 1.5 seconds.
He has, and Ridley there just a little bit cautious, I think, probably after that contact earlier on in the race, just to make sure that he got through with his teammate there, and that equally has further let Leonard off the lead, so to speak. So he's checked out a little bit here. The Juice Boys just probably tripping over one another a little bit here. There's always that hesitancy of wanting to make sure you don't take out your teammate in the process of trying to make places. And that has it's hurt Hunt the most out of all of the drivers there, who just got checked up a little bit, and that's left him susceptible there to Brodie Watts, who said, I want to be involved in this.
Zoma's just run off the track as he's trying to push. He just purple sectored one of the sectors just prior, so he's pushing for fastest lap honours. But yeah, had caught Franz Estebauer. He's in his attempt to try and start to make this move. Just clips the grass on the outside, can't pull it up, so he's now going to have to work again to close up that gap to Franz Estebauer.
See somebody in front of him there already decided to do the same thing. Thought that one looked like a good one to go down.
Can confirm it's not. I've been out there many times building sandcastles. About all it's good for. The sand traps here are very, very different as well. One thing to consider too, because it is literally on the beach. They are very much like a beach sand, so they do grip you in and are a little bit more difficult to get out of than others.
race sometimes. A little bit more pressure here on the 54 of Clint Harvey from Mike Holdcroft.
Let's be honest, I'm never going fast enough to get into the walls, so it's okay.
No drive-through either for Ridley, so it looks like he might have
I'm
got away.
thinking, well, I'm thinking they might have gone post-race penalty by the time they've decided to make a decision. So we'll get a race control report, and we'll report back before the next round as to what the result is with that.
3 minutes 45 left. So it's not too far away from starting another lap, so we'll get 2 more here. That's a third, I think.
Want proof the tyres are struggling. Get Jackson Pringle here through turn 10. Nice little slide.
Well to catch that there.
Not fast though, because Harry Dodds gained about a second with that little slide. So Harry Dodds is now in draft range. Could potentially steal his spot, but he's probably got one eye on that rear vision mirror as well, because have a look at how quickly Tiago Macedo's closed in. He's there now to potentially steal a top 5.
Macedo in the 40s, and Dodds in the 41s, high 41s. So about a second apart last time around in terms of lap time. So closing in is Tiago Macedo on P6. So this battle is very much alive for P5. So we're going to move down the inside here in the 54 of Clint Harvey.
It's out.
That has happened. So Jose's got a position there. You get the switchback done here. Very, very tough through here. Through good exit. Not able to get it done there. These tyres, or the wear on the tyres, telling, and the heat as well. So we'll have to rethink how he's going to get this one done.
Oh, Harry Dodds around. Harry Dodds is facing the wrong way at turn 9, and I've got a sneaking suspicion that there's been contact there.
And he had to wait painstakingly and watch those cars go through as well.
I can confirm as well that leader Rick Kuznetsov has just crossed the line, and you can see Barney is not waving the white flag, so 2 laps to go.
That means Pringle still got some work to do. That battle's still close. Pepper and Ridley still close as well. Potential for Hunt and Brody Watts in the 10th and 11th. And right back through the field, Rose and Harvey is still close together, so there's plenty to play out here. As we have a look at the replay.
Oh no, he's done it all himself.
Drop the tyre. That is cruel. Dodds up 20 positions at the time, doing a fantastic job to recover from his race 1 result. Now sitting back in 12th.
I'm putting that one on you. That's your curse tonight.
Running on some hot rubber. That's fine. I've certainly got some form and precedent in that respect. So.
Oh, so do I. I think I put the curse on you on Thursday night.
Oh, well, that's fine. It happens. We're all deserving of the moniker at some stage, so it's not a problem. Continue to look here at Harvey. 30 seconds to go until the timer runs down. Of course, it's on race leader Rick Kuznetsov, who's going to bring it around to start the final lap. So the track goes a bit more overcast again. Head towards the end of round 1, race 2, and there has been tons. It has flown by, and Barney cracks the shoulder, gets that white flag racing as Kuznetsov goes through for the final lap of this one.
Well, the sunlight difference from one side of the track to the other. There's bright sunshine on the southern side of the track, but the northern side of the track is in shade. So it's probably more the eastern side of the track, I should say.
As Watts and Hunt are exchanging positions rapidly. So have a look at that. We've also got very, very close between Pepper and Ridley as well as they get through to start their final lap. A couple of corners, so Watts here will be hoping to hold that position.
Oldcroft just lost a spot or 2 there as well, as he's had a little moment. Mizomo now might have a chance to finally get a spot back here and get himself into that top 15 we said he might try and get.
Yep, Mizomo, you would figure may get that done. Maybe he just overcooked the tyres a little bit there as he just yields the position. Good driving there. Oh, there's contact as well. Was that 93 of Greg Levine? He's going to be real careful with the turnaround here too. Oh, that was almost. I think it might have been.
Kuznetsov 2 corners to go to pick up a clean sweep in the first round of the Southern Cross Esports Winter Series. Picked up the pole, picked up the win in race 1, and he's cruising to victory in race 2. Perfect round for Rick Kuznetsov. Tops it off with the fastest lap of the night as well.
On 39.9. Driver to get there as Ben Brazier brings home P2. Great drive from him, up 6 spots. And Ray Oliver done a fantastic job to capitalise on that reverse top 10. Moving just 1 position into P3. And 1 position's all you need to get on the podium. Trevor Hearn coming home in 4th. Looks like Jackson Pringle's going to bring it home in 5th. We're having a look here at this final battle to the end of the top 10 between Watts and Hunt.
It's going to hold on there.
Just having a look in the background there. It looks like Mizomo's...
I reckon Mizomo's short on fuel.
I think he might have just actually got hit. I just heard a plane over race control, so I think he might have just got off.
Yep. And confirm he's received a hit, and it's actually put him over the incident limit.
So he will not be happy about that.
A quick replay of it because, yeah, it does hurt Mizomo tenfold because he will receive a post-race drive-through penalty, and race control will no doubt will have a look at that after the race as well. But Rick Kuznetsov, as we said, clean sweep, perfect night. Can't ask for much more.
He drove really, really well through the pack. Managed the race really well, and it's something we spoke about right at the beginning, is how will those drivers, those faster-paced drivers, manage, and he did it really, really well to take out the feature race win here tonight. Ben Brazier bring home 2nd with Ray Oliver in 3rd, and then it's Trevor Hearn in 4th with Jackson Pringle in P5. Thiago Masada, after a couple of setbacks during the race, manages to get back up into P6. Trevor landed in 7th with Mike Pepper in 8th, Kyle Ridley in 9th, and Dean Hunt in 10th, with a fantastic battle through this midsection of the pack all night. Brody Watts in 11th, Harry Dodds in 12th, with Clint Harvey in 13th, Franz Esterbauer in 14th, with Kurt Rose in 15th, provisionally. Sam DeRuit in 16th, Cam Edwards 17th, with Mike Holcroft in 18th, who we're looking forward to next week. 19th for TJ, with Simon Mizomo in 20th as a consequence of that late penalty. John Akers 21st, with Nathaniel Coburn in 22nd, with Jesse McMenamin in 23rd, with Greg Levine 24th, Craig Davison 25th, with Barry Punter 26th, Chase Hoy with those sound issues in 27th, and then we've got Paul Brockbank and Connor Nixon rounding out the 29 drivers that hit the track tonight in this series.
Have a very, very quick chat to P2 in the main event. Ben Brayer. Ben, congratulations on P2. Well done tonight. Up 6 from where you started in race 2. So you bit of progression through the field, but a great result in race 1 as well.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic drive. It was definitely a good battle up the front with Ray Oliver there for a little bit. Then after the pit, and just before that, I got past him, and after that, I didn't look behind me. I was gone with Rick, so it was a good race.
Talk to us about the difference in cars, the change of car from last season to this one, going to the Porsche Cup car. Thoughts? Are you enjoying the change? What's it been like to adjust?
I'm loving the change personally. Definitely probably a bit easier to drive, I think. I could be wrong, but I really enjoyed it. A lot more trail braking than the old car, but all around a really nice car to drive. So,
well, next week, round 2, we head to Twin Ring Motegi. What are your thoughts going there?
I'm going to one of the tracks I love. So hopefully I can convert to another, hopefully a win maybe. You know, I'm getting up there now, so bit of progression over, I don't know, last season finishing in 5th. So I've worked for it. So yeah, I'll see what I can do next week.
Good luck for next round, and we'll hopefully chat to you again soon. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, just John from Racecraft and all the other Racecraft boys which helped me out. I probably wouldn't have been this quick without them. So yeah, thanks to them.
Congratulations, mate. Stu, we'll hand it over back to you as you're walking down pit lane. Who have you run into?
Yeah, so I'm going to bring in Ray Oliver. I've just bumped into him. Okay, Ray. Congratulations, mate. P3, a solid way to conclude the night after the result in race 1.
It's a pleasant surprise. Let's just leave it at that. Far out.
The Juice Boys gave us plenty of excitement throughout the field tonight, but you just got the job done. How did you go with the change of tyre mid-race to run out this one?
Just tried to look after the tyres in the first one and go as long as possible to try and have the advantage in the bank afterwards, especially when there was a gap forming because everybody seemed to be wanting to send it off the road behind me, which I was grateful of. But yeah, just get through to that point and then take the short fuel and just go.
And the track temps heating up into that second race, did that change the way you had to handle the car towards that latter part of the first tyre stint?
Yeah, no. I mean, we know we're going to have the temps up high. It just gives it that extra bit of a challenge that people actually have to look after everything. They can't just go Harry Flutters at everybody. So it's good to have that extra little bit of thought process need to be put into a race.
But Quinn Ring Motegi, I've been talking all night. So as you can tell, next week, what are your thoughts about heading there? How do you think the car will go?
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be the same. Look after the rubber as much as you can because of the constant radius corners and just try and get through that first area to survive and go in for the second. The first one's still going to be a dogfight, but it's plenty of room for interesting lines, so it could be interesting further back in the pack when people are trying to pass.
Well, a solid result for you here in the double point feature race P3. I'm assuming there'll be a couple of people you want to say thanks to.
Yeah, I want to thank Juice Energy, All Ports Motorsport and Gaming, the Pet Door Company, Eddie's PC Repairs, FH Creative, and all the Juice Boys for coming in tonight, and for Cam and Dino for all the hard work that they've been doing behind the scenes to help us get this along.
Fantastic, mate. Congratulations there, Ray Oliver. P3 in the feature race for the Juice Boys.
And to finish off our interviews, we've got Rick Kuznetsov in. Rick, congratulations on the perfect round. P1, and P1. Congratulations.
Yeah, cheers, boys. It was a solid night, getting both wins.
It looks like it was pretty simple on paper, but I'm guessing the track temperature, the traffic, the way the car behaves, it wasn't as easy as it looks on paper.
Yeah, well, doing a lap round is pretty tricky as it is, so just trying to be patient, trying to get the moves done cleanly, obviously. And yeah, try to get the car clean and get the win.
Talk to us about the reverse grid, how you tackled that starting in 12th and making your way forward. You really looked like you were very patient in making your moves.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't want to get any instance. So lap one, I was trying to be really cautious, trying to not make any mistakes. And then after that, I was trying to get my nose clean and get the moves done as quick as possible.
How was the battle of getting the tyres back up to temperature after the pit stop and the psyche of getting yourself around going from hot, warm tyres in really good conditions? I mean, hot conditions, but then going back to icy cold tyres on a hot track. How did you tackle that mindset of getting your head right around that change?
The car was super understeer as soon as you came out of pits. These tyres on this mod on this car, the first 2 laps, it's pretty sketchy because the car doesn't want to steer. I think it's cold tyres, but I was just trying to get the first 2 laps done, and then after that, just carry on what I was doing before.
Congratulations, mate. A really good effort. Finished off with the fastest lap of the race in the second race as well, so well done. Let you thank who you need to thank before Sean tells you off for not thanking him.
Yeah, thank you to Racecraft Simulations, Tony Race Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Ease, Cutting Edge Tracks, and RB Media.
We have it, our podium for race 2, and as we said, next round we head to Twin Ring Motegi. Thoughts on that, Stuart? It's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, look, it's it was touched on in the interview there. Tyres going to be a massive importance again there. Hot track temps as well. Not too dissimilar to this track, but certainly going to be a little more opportunity for passing. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in a few weeks' time. 24th of May, we've got 3 weeks between rounds in the Southern Cross ESports Winter Series. So yeah, looking forward to getting to Twin Ring and seeing how the drivers fare.
Yeah, you can catch that here in 3 weeks' time. And don't forget, next week we will have the Southern Cross Esports and Motorsport Australia Formula V series as well. Big thanks to the series sponsors here for Southern Cross Esports as well. V8 Drive Day Perth, VRace Experience, Word of Mouth Signs, and PPD Performance 4x4. Make sure you join us for the next round of the season, as we said, in 3 weeks' time from Twin Ring Motegi. But make sure you join us for all of our broadcasts here on SimSpeed. You'll not miss any of the action. Make sure you subscribe. We will see you soon.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.